Nintendo just declared war on creativity. They legally patented the very concept of summoning allies in video games. Not a specific animation or character design, the actual idea of pressing a button to make something that fights for you appear, as if Pokémon had invented it. Imagine your indie studio spends years perfecting a companion system, only to discover Nintendo owns the patent on companions existing at all. That's the nightmare reality facing developers right now. Final Fantasy summons, Elden Ring Spirit Ashes, even World of Warcraft pets are now targeted by Nintendo's lawyers. Nintendo has figured out that you don't need to create better games, when you can make creating games illegal for everyone else. This is Mr. Fascinating, and today let's explore how we got to the point where a company can own basic gameplay mechanics that have existed for decades. To understand Nintendo's patent madness, we need to go back to January 2024. A tiny indie studio called Pocket Pair released Palworld, a survival game with creature companions that nobody saw coming. Within days, it exploded. 15 million copies sold in the first year, and the comparisons with Pokémon were inevitable. Yes, some Palworld creatures looked similar to Pokémon designs, but that wasn't what made it successful. It was successful because there was massive demand for other games in the monster catching genre. Players wanted a version of Pokémon with greater challenge, survival mechanics, and base building. So of course, Nintendo's response wasn't to compete with better games, it was to unleash their legal team. They filed patent infringement against Pocket Pair, claiming ownership of mechanics that existed in games decades before Pokémon was even conceived. Nintendo's patent strategy isn't about protecting their creations fairly, it's about controlling the entire landscape of game development. In the past 2 years, they've secured patents on summoning companions, switching between mounts, and even throwing objects that capture creatures. These are fundamental mechanics that have existed across dozens of genres for decades. The summoning patent is particularly crazy. It covers any game where you press a button to make something appear that fights for you. That goes way beyond Pokémon clones. Thousands of games suddenly became patent infringers overnight because Nintendo decided they owned the concept of having allies in video games now. The mounting patent is equally ridiculous. It covers switching between ground and flying mounts. World of Warcraft has been doing this since forever. Elder Scrolls has had horses since Daggerfall in 1996, but apparently Nintendo invented the concept of riding things, and now they want royalties from anyone who lets players sit on a horse. What makes this truly predatory is the timing. These aren't patents Nintendo filed decades ago, back when they invented these mechanics. These are patents they rushed through the system after seeing other developers succeed with them. The damage to Pocket Pair has been immediate. They've been forced to change features and animations from Palworld. A small studio spent years perfecting these systems, only to watch Nintendo retroactively claim ownership and force them to rebuild from scratch. The real damage isn't just what happened to Palworld, it's what's happening to every other developer right now. They are indie teams scrapping companion combat systems because they can't afford to find out if it's too close to Nintendo's patents. Studios are redesigning their entire game concepts because the legal risk isn't worth it. Innovation has been replaced by risk analysis. This is how creativity dies, not through direct censorship, but through the fear of financial ruin. When a small studio is prototyping new mechanics, they now start limiting themselves, because even if a certain feature would be great, it would not be worth the risk of being sued. That's the calculation every developer now has to make when designing anything that might involve summoning, mounting, or capturing. The power imbalance is staggering. Big studios like Hoyoverse can afford to fight these patent battles. Their upcoming game, Nexus Anima, features the exact mount switching mechanics Nintendo claims to own, and they are showing it in trailers without fear, because they have the resources for a legal war. But in this dawn, the people pushing boundaries, creating genuinely new ideas, they are the ones at true risk. What Nintendo has done opens a floodgate that could destroy the collaborative nature of game development entirely. If you can patent these incredibly broad concepts, what's stopping other companies from following suit? We are already seeing the effects. Every major publisher is looking at Nintendo's success and wondering what basic mechanics they can claim ownership of. Imagine if Epic patented building mechanics after Fortnite's success, if Valve claimed ownership of card-based progression systems. These aren't hypothetical scenarios anymore. Nintendo has proven that the patent office will grant ownership of fundamental game mechanics to whoever files first, regardless of prior art or common sense. The gaming industry has always been iterative. Developers build on each other's ideas, improving and evolving mechanics across titles and genres. Street Fighter's combo system influenced fighting games for decades. Sonic's momentum physics shaped many platformer games that followed it. Nintendo's patent strategy threatens to break this chain of innovation by making iteration legally dangerous. We are looking at a future where game development becomes a minefield of legal restrictions, where creativity is suffocated by fear. There have been unfair gaming patents before, but this is different. Bandai Namco's patent on loading screen minigames had a similar effect in a smaller way. For years, studios couldn't make interactive loading screens because one company claimed ownership of the concept of entertainment during loading times. Think about how many creative solutions to loading screen boredom because of that single patent. How this small improvement that could have been on many games was forbidden by legal fear. Nintendo has weaponized the same strategy, but with patents so broad, they cover fundamental aspects of how games work. The difference is scale. Bandai patented a loading screen. Nintendo has patented the concept of having allies. The implications are exponentially worse, because the mechanics they are claiming are much more basic to game design itself. But here's what gives me hope. Creativity has always found a way around barriers. When one path gets blocked, innovative minds find another route. The question is whether we'll support the developers brave enough to take those risks. The war on creativity is real, and right now, Nintendo is winning. But wars can still be fought, and this one is too important to lose. So go support indie developers. There's also another war on the kart racing genre. Click this video before it disappears to find out why everyone is quitting Mario Kart to play the new Sonic racing game.